It seems saturated, but that's a perspective thing too, right?
Talk to me.
That's a perspective thing because that's based on quality. That's based on
That's
talent.
exactly what I was going to say.
That's based on commitment.
Because I don't think it's saturated with I don't think it's saturated with substance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be saturated in just regards of bodies.
Voices.
Exactly. But in regards to like real things that you really want to know and discuss and see, like you cover or we cover and I cover, I don't think it's really oversaturation. I think we need more.
Mm-hmm.
We need more.
But it's like when you have to make something that is 30 to 60 seconds, it's going to be oversaturated. You know what I mean? Because you're going to have to keep putting something out to get the full message out. You're going to keep trying to drop tidbits, or you're going to be trying to drop trailers, or, you know, things to lead up to the bigger discussion. And I think that can confuse the message along the way, because the more people repost it, the more people want to talk about it in their language of how they want to dilute it and things of that nature. So I was kind of going off that as far as oversaturation of opinions.
Okay, got you.
Well,
but I also agree with platforms too. Definitely bodies. It's bodies in the way for
There's
sure.
a lot of bodies. But
sure.
when you say as far as the responses and the many ways that it goes, if you're purposeful with what you're putting out there, then your intention or the end result is always going to be those things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're going to have a bunch of voices, a bunch of opinions, and sometimes the message might get confused. But if it's being brought up more and talked about more and dissected more, is it being lost?
Yeah.
Completely?
Yeah, that's like the back in the day we played the telephone game. You know what I mean? I tell you, you tell me. By the time we get to the sixth person, that thing was screwed up, misconstrued.
Because I'm thinking of like, you have people that's professionals to talk about mental health, right?
Yeah.
And then you have people like, for instance, a Charlemagne that has done a lot of work on, I guess, his own mental health. So he speaks of it from his
advocacy,
his space and where he's at, somewhere in the middle. Then I'm watching a group of gentlemen, all from the streets, all really gang members and all that from the West Coast, and they was talking about depression and mental health and why each other should seek therapy. And mind you, the conversation's not happening on the same level. There's a lot of nonsense and jokes in between. Probably some inappropriate jokes in between a conversation about such a topic. But it's trickled down there. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's amazing to me, because 10 years ago, it wasn't a barbershop or a basketball court where this was going on, because I was at them.
Yeah.
I was in the bars. I was in these spots where people was being vulnerable, not vulnerable enough to say I'm gonna get help. Mm-hmm. And help or help didn't mean professional, people with degrees in the science.
But Sammie, people always talking, man. Like, that's another thing that bothers me too when it comes to these situations. I feel like people always talking, so like, let's just say if those gentlemen in the barbershop, I appreciate the conversation, but if they just having a conversation but only one of them out of 15 of them actually goes to the doctor that month, what do we actually get out of that conversation? But I appreciate it being had, but it's time for us to apply some of these things.
You're right. It wasn't in a barbershop, because I don't want to confuse nobody. It was on a platform that has a couple million subscribers, which makes millions of younger men that might have looked at it as some sucker shit think about it and consider it and have those conversations on their level, is all I was saying. Okay. But I completely agree with the fact that it's like when you're dealing with things in internet age, it's internet age, because it's not social media, it's not one or two things, it's everything. It is hard to go through the cornfield and figure out, you know what I mean, which route to take. It is. I just never want to.
It can be hard. It's not hard. It can be hard.
It can be difficult. Well, I mean,
it's not hard for everybody.
Exactly. But I didn't want to, I couldn't find a way. That's why I said it so slow. I didn't want to minimalize anybody in saying it. But what I'm saying is, for a lot of people, it's really like, for most people, if they hear something that sounds like what they want to hear, then that's the truth.
Right. I feel like everything they were talking about is like a Google search, right? Yeah. Because with every Google search, it's like you get out of it what you want to get. Everybody look at the credibility of the sites that they're getting info from. Do they go straight to the things that they want to hear, and they're like, this is what I want to hear, so this is the truth? So I feel like with everything they were kind of discussing, and I've been thinking this the whole time, and I was just letting y'all go, and the whole time my whole comment was, it's like a Google search, right? Because you get out of it what you want to get out of it.
And
right?
I'm somebody that used to be horrible at the sharing of stuff. Like, remember on Facebook, you could first share articles? I was just sharing headlines. And motherfuckers was like, did you read this? Do you know where this came from? And I was like guilty of that. You know what I mean? And I've learned since, but I was one of them.
Oh, for sure. That was
I was
me.
one of them.
Yeah, for sure. But
that's why I didn't want to minimize
Twitter.
nobody because like we've been there.
Mm-hmm. And I can say that was me on Twitter before I knew what fact checking and source checking was all about. For sure, as a journalist, before I really took that responsibility on.
Oh, she just hit my soul.
What you mean?
But I think that's what changed me too. I had a different responsibility.
Yeah.